Go. So we are actually already in the Gemara on Daf Yud Zayin Amud Bet, but I want to dial back and look at something on Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. It's Sugya tonight. Be'inyan Karkafta delo manach tefilin. One of the things that we had talked about was this mysterious thing that the Gemara had said that there's a category of people called Poshe Yisrael Begufan, the Jews who sin with their body. And it was not clear transgress with their body. And the Gemara wanted to know what does that mean? Poshe Yisrael begufan. And the Gemara had said it refers to people who don't put on tefillin. They use the expression Karkafta delo manach tefillin. This description came to us on the fourth line of the wider lines, not widest, but wider lines. You can see it there. Poshe begufan ma'niyu amarav karkafta delo manach tefillin. Poshe umada olam begufan amarav be'avera. So for the non-Jewish world, it had to do with immorality. For the Jewish world, it had to do with karkafta delo manach tefillin, the head that did not put on tefillin. So if you look at these sources over here, which I'm going to try to put on the screen if I actually have it in the computer, which I don't remember now. Pardon? Yeah, there's the Ran. It's the Rif in the middle and the Ran on the outside. Everybody here got, I think.
I'll get my bigger Gemara. I'll find it.
You'll find it. It's in the back. It's in the back. But I have other sheets there also. So I might as well just open it for you so you could see it, and that's that. I'm sharing it with myself so I can put it on the screen. File compression. Share. Okay, hold on, half a sec, open, and share screen. Okay, now there you have it there. You don't have to go searching for the Gemara. All right, so the Rif, of course, I've said this before, so I'm kind of repeating myself, I guess, but for those who maybe don't remember, or maybe I don't remember that I did or didn't say it, the Rif, a very important Rishon. He writes the first halachic compendium by the order of the Shas. He extracts most of the discussion and all of the Agadata and gives you in a linear fashion by the same order as Mishnayot and Gemara, the halachas. So he was writing based on a manuscript, just like the Gemara was in a manuscript, and all these things got printed later. The girsa of the Rif on this subject, on Poshe Yisrael Begufan, you could see it 3 lines up on the narrowest lines. Umay nihu Poshe Yisrael Begufan. Umay nihu Karkafta delo manach tefillin. He adds in one crucial word. Me'olam. Yeah. Who's in this like a very serious category? A person who never put on tefillin, not even once. If you turn the page, Rambam Hilchot Tshuva, Paragimel. The Rambam gives you the next page. Rambam Paragimel. Yeah. Page 2 on the bottom right-hand corner. V'im nimtzu zechuyot of keneged aponotav. Shemei avon shlish v'erech ma'avirin kol avonotav rishon rishon v'ishal shlish nachshav rishon. Okay, that's not for us tonight. Sorry, 3 lines up from the bottom in the Rambam. Habeinonim im haya bichlal mechza avonot shelahen. See that? Shelo iniach tefillin me'olam. Dana tokifish chata'av yesh l'chiluk lamaba. So if they're half and half, and among the things they didn't do is they never put on tefillin in their entire life, we'll judge them according to their sins, and they will still have a portion in the world to come. That wasn't the case where things are balanced. We said what could tip the scales? Shem is mateh chesed, said Rava, but there was also this factor. Why would that be the case? Oh, well, they also had the sin of Poshe Yisrael Begufan. So it's interesting to consider. The Ramban goes this direction. Also, if you turn, by the way, flip to the other side, right? You get the rest of the Rambam. I went too far. V'chein kol Rishonim. It's in the middle. Shevanotei merubin danin otan kefi chata'ehem v'yesh lam chelek olam haba. Right. So the other people who have more sins than merits, So we judge them according to their sins. They still also have a share in the world to come. Why? Why? Shekol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek olam haba. Af b'shachatu. Shneimar v'amech kulam tzadikim l'olam yirshu aretz. Eretz zu mashal. When it says that they will forever, they will inherit the land. The land here is referencing something allegorical. Come on, Eretz Hachayim. You know, the cemetery, Eretz Hachayim. So it's a reference to Olam Haba. V'hi Olam Haba. Right? V'chein, this is just interesting that he writes this. V'chein chasidi umad ha'olam yesh lehem chelik Olam Haba. The righteous among the nations have a chelik in Olam Haba. Then comes a whole list. Ve'elu she'en lehem chelik Olam Haba. El nichratin ve'ovdin v'nidon al goral pisham v'chatatam L'olam l'olam elamim. Amin v'apikorsim v'akofim b'torah v'akofim t'chiyat hametim v'akofim v'yad ha'goel v'mishumadim. Right? The heretics, the Epicureans, the those who deny the truth of the Torah, they deny, God forbid, t'chiyat hametim, they deny the arrival of the Redeemer. Those who have converted to other religions, umachti arad, and they caused them public to sin. B'porshim da'achit tzibur v'osaver b'yad rama v'farhesia k'oyakim. They do things in a very public, nasty way, like Yoakim did, Ayin Sham, Malachim Bet. Vamoshim, people who turn over Jews to the non-Jewish authorities, those who impose their fear on the community, not for the sake of heaven. The murderers, Bali Lashon Hara, it's on the list, right? The people who speak gossip or gossip mongers. Moshe Cholata, one who tries to reverse their Brit Milah. So, and then he goes into the details. I didn't give you all the pages just to say, for the Rambam, for the Rif, for the Ramban, the idea here is that a Karkafta manach tefilin means a Jew who never put on tefillin is from Poshe Yisrael Begufan. But if even once in their life they put on tefillin, they're no longer Poshe Yisrael Begufan, according to the Shita. You know anybody who runs around the whole world trying to get a Jew to put on tefillin?
Chabad.
We say, well, are they going to, right?
Yeah. Chabad. Yeah.
According to the Shita of the Rambam and the Ramban, based on the Girs of the Rif, there's a very good reason why they're doing it. Yeah. A lot of points, so to speak, earned in that. Because it's no longer Poshe Yisrael Begufan, because it's not Karkafta lo manach tefilin le'olam. They had one time. So all of us who think one time, they're going to put on tefillin the rest of their life. By the way, first of all, there are people who do, as a result. That's a fact. There are people who do. As a result, that one time putting on the tefillin becomes 2 and 5 and 20 and the rest of their life. But even if it was just one time, it's based on the Rambam. You know, Chabad are very into the Rambam, as you know. You know that, yeah? They're very into the Rambam. Piskei Rambam, the Shulchan Aruch Hara, very into the Rambam. Anyway, so there you have it. It turns out, based on this Gemara, there's a source for the shluchim, the teenagers who are going out and putting on tefillin people in the mall or something in the street. That's what it is. So at least one time.
So
we'll see other interpretations in a minute, but that's at least one of them.
So what he says about Beinonim, im haya bichlal mechza avonot shelahem shelo hinyak tefilin leolam. So what would he say about Beinonim that don't have that avera among their mechza?
So automatically, they're for sure going to be pushed over to the side of chesed because they're balanced. Mechza. You're mechza. So then it's going to. The problem is if you push it to sabagufan, you would think that you're definitely in the negative, in the minus. And Mata Chesed says he'll push it over to the right side. The point is that the girsa here, Karkafta l'manach tefillin, means la'olam for these people. So if you did it once, you check the box. You know, it's not an excuse not to put on tefillin chalila, but yeah, okay, you understand. Fine. There's Tosfot right here. Tosfot points out Karkafta l'manach tefillin on the daf. Back on the daf now. Tosfot. Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. Another interpretation.
Which Tosfot?
Karkafta l'manach tefillin. So Tosfot say Karkafta l'manach tefillin im oseg b'Torah k'miniach tefillin dami. If you're sitting and learning Torah, it's like you're wearing tefillin. How come? Because you put on the tefillin, Mantia Torah Shem B'ficha. It's in the parsha we just read. It's last week's parsha, the Shavua, in the parsha of Kadesh and Kiviacha, at the end of Bo. So it mentions Mantia Torah Shem B'ficha. But if you're already learning, you have to put on tefillin.
And they used to wear tefillin all the time.
What?
You used to wear tefillin all the time in the base medrash, right?
And people wore tefillin all day long in the base madrash, right?
But
Why it went by the wayside, we'll come to shortly.
someone who never put on tefillin, but learns to.
Right. So, I mean, that's the question in Tosfot here. Karkafta manach tefillin. Tosfot did not have the girsa because our Gemara didn't have the girsa leolam. So the head that doesn't wear tefillin. So, what is the head that doesn't wear tefillin? It says, oh, it's poshei sabagufan. But if you're learning Torah, that covers it. So you're asking another question. According to those shitas that hold that's karkafta manach tefillin leolam, what if they learn Torah one time? Would that be enough? That's less clear. Why? Because it's Tosfot is making the point here that while you're learning, you're pater from tefillin. It doesn't mean you don't have to be mekayim the mitzvah of tefillin. It doesn't mean you don't have to be wearing the tefillin the whole time. But if a person never put on tefillin their whole life, then they didn't perform the mitzvah of tefillin.
Yes, which is begufo.
Yeah.
But is Talmud Torah begufo?
It's a mitzvah of speech, comes from within. Could say it's begufo, right? So poshi sabagufan, they learn Torah. So that's the question.
Yeah.
Do you want to extend this line of Tosfot to the other Rishonim? Ramban, Rif.
So you're saying just because he doesn't put tefillin on, he learns Torah, that maybe it pertains to the fact that.
Right. No, but I thought the rabbi just said that you're pater, but it doesn't mean you were.
Right, you're pater, but you never fulfill the mitzvah of tefillin. Okay, you're right. I'm prodding you because let's keep going because you're asking the right questions. So does that mean there's like a bridge between them? You did one or the other? Is the word tefillin just a stand-in for anything? So we'll have to see. Let's learn Tosfot first. Tosfot points to Karkafta manach tefillin im osik b'Torah k'minech tefillin dami b'mechilta ha'osik b'Torah pater min ha'tefillin. So again, does it mean a person who learns Torah never has to put on tefillin, or does it mean while a person's learning Torah, they don't also have to be wearing tefillin? They're doing one, not the other. Okay, the tefillin is an ot. The tefillin is an ot.
Right.
So if you're actually learning, you don't have to do the ot at that time. Does it not mean there's still a discrete, specific mitzvah put on tefillin? Yeah, there's a specific mitzvah put on tefillin, right? So now, Rabbeinu Tam Mefarish, the hacha sham mitzvah bezuya alav, shemagunot alav ritzuot shel tefillin shebarosho. When is this case of poshe yisrael begufan karkafta lo manach tefillin? It's a person for whom tefillin is a degradation. They think that the ritzuot, the straps of the tefillin, are despicable. They speak in a derisive way about the tefillin. Aval im yarei la'aniach mishum daba'inan gufnaki ke'alisha bal knafayim k'ida bereis b'metomnin v'hu doi kosha shemel yuchali zar l'shoma b'tahara u'v'kedusha havada ein alav din poshe yisrael begufan. However, say Tosfot, if the reason why you didn't put on tefillin is because you're worried about having a clean body, as was the case with Elisha Bal Knafayim, he was called Elisha Bal Knafayim. That was they gave him that moniker because of a particular story that happened with him. He was very careful that anytime that he was worried he wouldn't have a clean body, he took off his tefillin. He didn't wear his tefillin. So there's a miraculous story about him that there was a decree prohibiting Jews from wearing tefillin, and he was wearing tefillin, and some enemy authority, I suppose the Romans, saw him, chased after him. He rounded a corner and pulled off the tefillin from his head. I don't know how he got the one from the arm off. I assume he got that off also. Maybe. I don't know. And the guards caught up with him, and long story short, they put him through the paces. We saw you in tefillin, and we're going to smash the tefillin through your head and kill you with them. So where are the tefillin? He said, I don't have tefillin. He said, what's in your hand? You're cupping your hands. He said, I have wings in my hands. And they opened, there were wings. So after that, Elisha Bal Knafayim. It's a Maisa. Okay. But there's more to it than that, but that's the basic gist. The point is he was an individual who was worried maybe he wouldn't be Shemel Yuchali Hizaher L'Shomar B'Tahara Uvikedusha. Right? So Havada Ein Lav Din Poshe Yisrael B'Gufan. I mean, that's not Poshe Yisrael B'Gufan. He was worried always that he didn't want to violate the Kedusha of the tefillin. That's why he wasn't wearing them for a period of time. But if not for that concern, he would have been wearing them all the time. You're not allowed to sleep in tefillin. You're not allowed to pass gas in tefillin. So it's a whole day. He was worried. if a person's certainly in the back in the day for hygienic purposes, a person used the bathroom, like they had like proper toilet paper, etc. So that's not a gufnaki anymore. Can't wear tefillin.
No.
Mitzvah d'oraita. You can't just wear tefillin stam, right? Bisman hazeh, it's very different. Person had an upset stomach, whatever it is. So he was worried. V'chol hanei deshmaitim shebelo b'shelo asa tshuva. Avol asa tshuva amrin biyuma the tshuva tola umita b'maraket. If the person, everything we're talking about here is the person died having never put on tefillin, or in the case of Tosfot, it's not never, it's that they were derisive about their relationship to the tefillin, they didn't treat them properly, etc. But if they did tshuva before they died, tshuva will be accepted, and when they would die, that would be the expiation of the sin. Question?
Tinoch Shenish. Never
Different
put-
case.
But he never put on film.
Different case.
Still never put on film.
So according to the Rambam, according to the Ramban and the Rif, Taka, he never did it. Poshe Sabagufan, transgressors of Israel with their bodies. A skull that never wore its phone, a head that never wore its phone, never wore its phone. Min Hastam. Now, is there exculpatory considerations? Of course, it's Tinoch Shenishba. What do you expect?
Okay.
But how far does it go? Only the Rebbeinu Shalom knows.
Today, in these United States, we have unfortunately many nice Jews,
Many fine Jews.
fine Jews.
Right.
Who are Tinoch Shenish. Okay,
Yeah.
they really don't know.
We should try to get them to put on tefillin. If not every day, one time.
Probably.
The sheet of the Rambam, the Ramban, and the Rif. Or the Rif, the Rambam, and the Ramban. It's actually chronologically more correct, right?
The other thing, the definition of a gufnaki.
So there's a whole series of halachot about gufnaki. If a person is incontinent, they're not in control of themselves, it's questionable if they can wear tefillin. They could put on tefillin for a briefer period of time. Minastan.
Someone,
But there are rules.
someone goes to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
has a movement.
Mm-hmm.
What do they have to do to have a gufnaki to go back and?
They can't smell. There can't be anything still attached to them that's excrement wise, excrement attached to them, things like that. Yeah. Ideally, I mean, yeah, it's a very important halachas. You have to take care. You're wearing a davar shebikdusha. I mean, gufo kadosh, like Sefer Torah, mezuzah, and tefillin, in that category.
There are shalas that come up all the time. With people in the
Hospitals,
hospital.
sure. Sometimes it's not possible, God forbid, but if they can, put on tefillin. Even if you put on, so you can't put on for a long time. 1 minute, better than 0 minutes.
It's like-
1 minute.
it's like-
Run, Shema Yisrael, Baruch Shem Kavod, v'havta.
How many men in the hospital and they're, God forbid, on their deathbed, okay, they say, get my children, I want to kill you off.
They should.
One more
Yeah.
time.
It should.
Should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, right? Can't do any mitzvahs after this world.
No.
So that's is it.
It's like the shalas that
Get
came
it
up
in,
with,
yeah.
with Rav Asher Weiss in the time of when people
That's
lost
right.
an arm.
That's
What
right.
are they gonna
That's
do? They
right.
had to
That's
put
right.
on-
From the war.
From the war.
We talked about it.
Talked
We talked about it. Right. So, I mean, yeah, but there's a difference here between the first series that we saw with never put on tefillin versus what Tosfot's saying. Tosfot's saying it has to do with attitude. If a person is walking around speaking derisively about the tefillin, that's Karkafta manach tefillin. That's poshe sabagufan, because they undermined their usage of the tefillin. That's Rabbeinu Tam's position. That's what it is. Rabbeinu Tam mefarish the hachak shamitzah bezuya alav shemaguna alav retzuat shel tefillin sheberosha. But if the issue is you're worried about gufnaki, so then it wasn't a bemezi that you did it in anger, it's or in rebellion. It's stam. You just had other reasons why you couldn't put on the tefillin that time at that particular time. But in general, you should wear the tefillin. Why don't we wear tefillin all day? You have a bit of your answer right here. People could not be assured that they would keep a gufnaki, and we'll see another consideration having to do with the mind shortly in another one of the Rishonim. The first part before Rabbeinu Tam was just pointing out if you're learning Torah, the Mechilta says you're pater from tefillin. It doesn't mean altogether to do the mitzvah of tefillin. It means at that time that you're learning. Doesn't mean you don't do the mitzvah at all. It's just if for some reason you took off your tefillin, take an example in the olden days. So wear the tefillin, davening, have to go to the bathroom, take off the tefillin, comes back, realize, oh, I've finished davening already. I'll just sit and learn. So I'll have to put on the tefillin. But they finish, stop learning. According to Tosfot, if you keep a gufnaki, put a tefillin back on. It's not our minhag anymore. What happened? Nitkatnu hadorot. The generations became diminished. We don't have what we used to have. Turn to page 4 in the source packet.
thought that we don't, I thought that we don't risk filling other than davening precisely because we were saying that it's not true. Is that wrong or?
We are worried that we can't actually keep a gufnaki.
Right,
But there were Dorat Kadmonim, earlier generations, that, believe it or not, actually had more confidence in their ability to do just that. Ironically, with less sanitation, etc. Yeah, but yeah. Different diet, there's different things. Look over here, page 4, bottom to the bottom right-hand column where it's in bold, Poshi Sabagufan Karkafta. Page 4, Poshi Sabagufan, we're in the Ritva now. He quotes the Rif, Veha Rif Zal, Katav lo manach tefilin le'olam, means never. Yeah? Never at all. The footnote here in this edition, the annotated edition, Mosada Rav Kook of the Ritva, sorry, footnote 211. You see it? That's the sentence I just read before 211. Now, Vidata Inyan, according to the footnote 212, Vidavka Bi'inyan. Vidavka Bi'inyan. She'osa kain b'derech mered ubizayon. Just like Rabbeinu Tam. You didn't wear the tefillin in a manner of rebellion and degradation, degrading the tefillin. Speaking derisively about it. V'hu adin, v'hu atam, l'shar mitzvah d'sesha b'gufo, shaya mored behem le'ulam, kigon, kriyat shema, utfila. And this, says the Ritva, obtains for all mitzvot shebagufo. What Larry pointed out before. Maybe they're all connected. And this idea, that a person who would rebel at any time, like Kriyat Shema, like Shmon Esrei, Ramban wrote it this way as well. That would be a Poshi So Begufan. Yeah, again, from the period, V'hu Adin, V'hu Atam, L'shar mitzvot shebagufo, Shaya morid behem le'ulam. Keep going. Krishna Tefillah says, I'm never going to daven. I'm never going to say the Shema, right? The Ramban has, and the Ran have the view, Kriyat Shema and Birkat HaMazon. Not Kriyat Shema Tefillah. Why? Taka, good question. The answer is because they hold the Kriyat Shema as the Oraita, and they hold the Birkat HaMazon as the Oraita, but not necessarily Tefillah, the Amira of the Shmon Esrei, is the Oraita. It's the sheet of the Ramban. All right, tefillah is generally for the Ramban, the Rabbanon. So if it's an Eight Sarah, then it gets bumped up to be in the Raita, and probably davening on Shabbos and Yom Tov for the Ramban is also the Oraita because it's Mikra Kodesh, it's its own status, but neither here nor there. After footnote 213, if the reason why you're not doing it is because you really just can't control yourself for whatever reason, again, bodily issues and the like. So that's why. Ubilvad. Oh, sorry, I skipped. I'm sorry. Sorry. You're not going to be a kokach. You won't be that punished about it. That's actually the minhag for everybody, right? V'chein pirish Rabbeinu Tam. That's also what he wrote. We saw that. V'nira deni delomi anish kulihai ava onish yeshlik sheposhea badavar shari kol dam ra'ui lemitzvah zu ubilvad sheyishmor mehesach hadaat. Mashikatu b'masachet Shabbat chayav adam mashmesh bitfilav b'chol sha'ah kavachomer mitzitz. Meaning that there is still a capability, even though you're not going to be punished all that a lot, you still get a little bit of a punishment when you're a poshea in this matter, because we have to make sure when it comes to the mitzvah of tefillin that we have kavana the whole time while wearing the tefillin. We should have a hesach hadat that we're in the midst of wearing tefillin. Because how long does a person wear tefillin? Bisman hazeh in a regular day, not a Rosh Chodesh, going to take it off early anyway.
Yeah.
35 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, something like that. So, to be careful not to have even a sicha b'tela in the tefillin, ideally, so it's not possible otherwise. But you see why the amount of time kept contracting because,
The only time it's longer is Megillah.
Megillah Esther, Taka. Yeah. And there are people who are makpin and batei medrash that after Shachrit, they leave the tefillin on so they could learn in the tefillin for a little while.
Right.
So isn't that why also we touch the tefillin during like Ashrei and Shema?
Yeah, right there.
That's all because we need to be cognizant of the fact that we're wearing them.
And particularly when you're mentioning the mitzvah tefillin, right? But even potech et yadecha, right?
Yeah.
Chayav adam l'mashmish b'tfilav b'chol sha'a kal v'chomer mitzitz. Top of the column kuf mem chet. V'yesh om mishum yizeh hatam amru sha'osik b'torah patim min atfilin mipnei sheyesh lehesach adat sha'osik b'torah. V'yevshel l'kaim shtehen. You thought that the reason was that it's just an oath. And there, that's what I said before. Mantia Torah Shem B'ficha. But if you already have tefillah Torah Shem B'ficha, you don't have to wear tefillin during that time. The Ritva says, no, the issue is if you're focused mentally on studying Torah, and you're not thinking about your tefillin. It's also a Hesach Hadat. Therefore, you don't wear it at the same time. Yeah, the Efshel L'kaim Shteyen. Av Vishain Hesach Hadat Nofel Be'inyan Zeh. Kevin Shein Daita B'dvarim Shel Chol. Hesach Hadat really, even though the truth is, Hesach Hadat means you're thinking about something not related to Dvarim Shel Kedusha. Okay, the Barirna, the Masechet Sukkah Daf Chavav. But the truth is, he says, no, if you're learning, so you're connecting to Hashem, and that's the point of the tefillin. So it's not really Hesach Hadat. Hesach Hadat means you're thinking about things that are chol, mikol makom. You know, kaim mitzvah tefillin karaui. Shepam Yisir daita mehem livrei chol. The person is still not going to necessarily fulfill the mitzvah of tefillin properly because oftentimes their mind wanders to things that are profane, mundane. So then they don't have to wear the tefillin at that time. What's the other reason? What I said before. I.e., the wearing of the tefillin itself is an ot, and therefore, if you're osek in Torah, you don't have to wear the tefillin because you are not actually away from the reminder. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
It should just still that mean davening. You have to be thinking about filming.
You have to be thinking about relating to Hashem. And the tefillin, by the way, the singular tefillin is tefillah. Yeah, it's all related to tefillah. It's all related to connecting yourself to the Ribbon Shalom, so to speak, from a spiritual perspective, by wearing the tefillin.
And that's why we say when we're down, Pilel is the word.
Tefillah. But once you're learning, that's the communication going the other direction. So maybe that is a Hesach Hadat. So no, we could say, no, it's not really Hesach Hadat because you're not thinking about things that are unrelated to davening. By this logic, by the way, looking at the news headlines in the tefillin, it's a problem. Chatting with somebody else with something that's not related to davening, that's a problem. Now, you don't have to be God's accountant, but you can at least think for yourself, I actually learned this in the Ritva. I saw the Gemara.
Too bad nobody mentioned cell phones in here.
Cell phones were not mentioned. It's on the next page. I didn't photocopy
It's
it.
on the next page.
Is that why you can talk during davening on Shabbos? So,
You caught me. I would say you talk during davening on Shabbos. It's also egregious, but you don't get the extra chait of it being Karkafta the manach tefillin.
serious note,
Yeah.
according to those who feel that tefillah is the manach,
Yeah.
how do you reconcile that feeling, which clearly
Is the oraita.
Right.
The best you can come up with is that the tefillah, even if it's the Rabbanan, is still connecting you to Hashem. So it's not Dvarim of Chol, and that's all you need. It's something that's not Davar of Chol. That's it. Yep. Yeah. You're right. You're right. So here you have also Mashikat Tefillin Tzrichen Guf Naki Ki Elisha Baal Knafayim Far Perush B'Gemara. That it was in the merit of the fact that Elisha Baal Knafayim was so strict about Guf Naki issues. That's why he was saved when he was wearing his tefillin. When the non-Jew found him, this guard, whoever it was, the policeman, the officer, and tried to injure him when he took off the tefillin and he had wings in his hands. Exactly what we just said before. Right? That's a story that's told about him. Because he had a miracle. So it's like in the matter they said, you should only give tzedakah to someone who really is connected, is appointed to it, like Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan. There's lav davka, lefi shahayim medaktek ba, kedamrin hatam ma'ot tepurim shnitchalfu lima'ot tzedakah v'chilaktim lanim zebar. Basically, this is another example of people who were very strict about a particular mitzvah, about how they kept to a particular mitzvah. So just to say that the reason why Elisha Baal Knafayim is being mentioned is because he had that miracle happen to him. everyone should try and strive for the standard as such. The real piece about Avon Poshi Soba Gufan is an Avera that comes with Karet. El Sha'amru, Shemagin Seife Avera Zu, Afilo over Mitzvah Say Derech Mered, Ra'uy Aleim Ktsat Karet, Benafsho, Liot Mitzavtse Ve'ola. Even though Karet is really, with the exception of Brit Milah and Korban Pesach, really only for the violation of prohibitions, not for the failure to accomplish positive mitzvahs, you should just be aware that if you're over on a mitzvah, I say you transgress by not fulfilling a positive mitzvah, i.e., like tefillin, that's the point, says the Ritva. There is a certain punishment on that. You get a little bit of karet for that, for not putting on the tefillin.
Yeah, I mean, it's either karet or it's not
A
karet.
little bit pregnant.
Oh, it's either karet or it's not karet.
So if you look in source 227, the Shara Gmul on the bottom, of course, the Shara Gmul of the Ramban, Shara Be'inin Gehenim is Inyan HaKaret. Gehenim is what karet is. Karet Benafsha means a little bit of Gehenim.
You're just cut off.
V'liot Mitzav. What?
No, karet.
Yeah,
karet.
all right. So it's not that you're literally cut off. When it's referring to it here, it means you're going to Gehenim for a period of time and you come out. That's what it's mentioning. By the way, at the bottom here, Poshe Umat is Olam Begufan, since we're here anyway. Sorry, I lost you there, Ronnie. I'm sorry.
Is there any other place where we have a concept of kitzat karet? Is there any other?
Ksat Karet is a code basically for a period of time in Gehenna, but not forever.
Okay.
That seems to be. So Poshe Umat Olam Begufan. V'had Mashmat the Chasidu Umat Olam Nidon Ol Chayil Olam. V'yesh Lam Chilik Lama Baku. I'm reading the Ba'alma. In Sanhedrin, that is what it says. B'makayim zaymitz v'pnei Noach. Aval elu anotzim v'shme'elim b'chlal minim heim u'chemos Pirush Rashi haminim talmidei. You could read the last word for yourself. Yeah, you see. Yeah, that's as Rashi. We don't have it. Footnote 229. It says when Rashi's we don't have this. How come? Because the censor. They just took it off. But the Ritva was not subject to the censor, so he's quoting a Rashi that in the West we didn't see. I mean, he didn't really live in the East of Ritva. He lived in, he was from Seville. He lived in Spain, Catalonia, Spain. But the point is, his manuscript was not subject to the censor, so he wrote what he wrote, right? But in general, he thinks if you have a non-Jewish person who keeps his Zayim Mitzvah Ben Noach, as long as they're not from the Notzim and the Yishmaelim, because they are minim, they don't have a Chilek Olam Haba. That's the Ritva. Just telling you what he says. So just worthy of consideration. Go back to page 1, and we'll look together at the Ran. Page 1 is the Ran again. There's no reason to put it in as page 6 because it's right there. And it's the Dibur Amatchil Beinonim. The Kamri Beit Hillel. You see it? Big word, Beinonim, third line. Beinonim to Kamri Beit Hillel. Umaika, Maihi Karkafta manach tefilin me'olam. See it? And the Ran adds, the Ran comes after them. I went in chronological order. The Ran is after the Ritva. Because the Ran wrote a commentary on the Rif, so people usually access him earlier. He got himself on the page. There's also commentary on the page of the Rif, the Milchamot, that's the Ramban also. And it's back and forth with Asagat Harayvid. They're all on the page. They wrote commentaries on the Rif. The Rif was the most important commentary and became the baseline till it was, I don't want to say overtaken, but other Sfarim that came from it, like the Rambam, and then later like the Shulchan Aruch, had a different way of classifying and codifying things, which is according to categories. So, yeah. So writes the Ran. Bein Indika Amri Beit Hillel, Maiki Karkafta lo manach tefilin me'olam, v'uadin lishar mitzvot aseh shebegufo, shlo kiman me'olam. It refers to any mitzvah aseh that you never did. Tefillin was just an example. It's not special per se. Good. Shlo kara kriyat shema v'labirach ala mazon acharav me'olam. If you never said kriyat shema, you never benched your whole life, Birkat Hamazon, that's Poshis Sabagufan. It's not just tefillin. It's any mitzvah aseh that involves the goof. And speech is part of the goof. Because Rabbeinu Tam Zal, the davka b'she nimna milhanicha machmat shemitzvah bezuya be'enav avlim yari lahanicha. That's what we saw already. Machmat shetfilin tzrichin guf naki v'hu yarei shem lo yuchali yizar b'hen ein zevichla poshe yisra b'gufan v'tanim de b'mechilta. And the Mechilta says further, ha'ozik b'torah pater min ha'tefillin ve'afshar the time of the milta b'shum the ozik b'mitzvah pater min ha'mitzvah. Inami she'ozik b'Torah ein tzarich ot. Shedivrei Torah hein alav leot. The Ran added that. I said it earlier. The name of the Ran. I didn't quote his name. I probably should have. All right, but this last idea that based on the Mechilta, that you could either understand when it says when you're engaged in learning, you don't have to put on tefillin, either because ozikim is a pater mitzvah, or because the point of the tefillin was to be an ot that you should learn, or about learning, or about Torah. So if you're actually doing the learning, you don't have use for the ot. It means at that time you wouldn't have it. Yeah, at that time specifically. Enter Rav Soloveitchik, which unfortunately I did not copy for you, so I'm just telling you what he says in the Rishima Shiurim of the Grid of Soloveitchik and a sugya in Brachot Daf Lamed Zayin Amid Bet. If you want to look it up, page Tuf Lamed Aleph. He says, I'm going to explain to you the sheet of Rabbeinu Tam. She'im eniach tefillin shel rosh bilvad, azam varach shtei brachot tefillin shel rosh. Based on the Rabbeinu Tam, which he writes elsewhere on the Dibur Matchil Shekiddushanu, Tosfot and Brachot. So he says, if you just put on tefillin shel rosh, you didn't have hands. He's putting on, God forbid, just tefillin shel rosh. You'd have to make two brachos on tefillin shel rosh. Yishnu shnei dinim, tzvei dinim, b'mitzvah hanachat tefillin. One, aleph, ma'aseh hanachat tefillin. Shekshos tzvanu laniach tefillin. Shnayim, bet, chalot shem b'gavra shu me'uter b'tefillin. A status that falls upon a person who's wearing tefillin, or as we would say it, al mitzvah tefillin. V'nir de chalot shem gavra me'uter b'tefillin, mechil chalot kedusha b'gufa adam sheminiach tefillin. It would seem that second bracha, al mitzvah tefillin, the second bracha which was related to the conferral of a status upon the person who wears tefillin, of being a person who is crowned in tefillin, is that they actually have a certain extra level of kedusha on their body when they put on the tefillin. What's my proof? Says the Rav. Gemara and Rosh Hashanah, Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. Poshu so begufan ma'niyu. What does it mean? The sin of the body. I'm a Rav Karkafta manach tefillin. You don't find, even though the Ran thought there was, the Ritva thought there was, but he says if you look through Shas, you don't find other mitzvahs. What's a sinner with their body? Someone who didn't pick up a lulav. Why wouldn't it say that? It should say that. It's also a mitzvah with the goof. Doesn't say that. Specific, or he gives the example, a Jew who didn't sit in the sukkah. It's poshi sobagufan. His goof was never in a sukkah. We don't say that. Why don't we find only with tefillin? Why? Oh, Yomru Amishu Shu Gav Shalot Lulav. Okay, exactly the two examples that I gave off by heart. That's what he wrote. Sukkah and Lulav. Upasha the Gemara Moreh. Sheyesh Ezo Chalot Kedusha Miyuchedet. A special Kedusha that's conferred on a person. Begavra Minich Tefillin. A person puts on Tefillin on themselves. V'she'ota Kedusha Chasera Eitz like Karkafta L'manach Tefillin. And a person who doesn't ever put on Tefillin misses out on that level of Kedusha. They don't get to the level of Kedusha. They're simply missing that sanctification. V'neish l'dayik od b'lashna Gemara she'amru Karkafta l'manach tefillin, v'lo amru kain al darad l'manach tefillin. Note, it's the head that never wore tefillin, not the arm that never wore tefillin. Demash maktzat the kedusha gavra miyuchadet azu chala b'davka yedei hanachat tefillin shel rosh v'lo yedei hanachat tefillin shel yad. That really that conferral of the kedusha is on the tefillin shel rosh. V'chein mash maktzat medashat drashat Rabbi Eliezer Gadol al pasuk v'ra'u kol amei aretz kishem Hashem nikra alecha v'yar mimeka. What's that? Says the Gemara, Davav and Brachot, Il Tefillin Shabarosh. The Tefillin Shabarosh confers a status of Kedusha Shabaguf that the other nations of the world will see, that they'll be fearful of. The Master the Davka Yedei Anachat Tefillin Shabarosh, who the Shem Hashem Nikra Ala Karkafta, the Manach Tefillin Ve'enin and Zeh, Chalak Sheminiach Tefillin Shayad. It doesn't fall on Tefillin Shayad, only on the Tefillin Shabarosh. By the way, that's why the second bracha, he's going to say it right now. That's what Rabbeinu Tam holds, that if you can't use your arms, you only put on tefillin shel rosh, you would recite, according to Rabbeinu Tam, two brachas on tefillin shel rosh. The birkat la'niach kai amaiset tefillin, the nachat hatefillin. Ubirkat al mitzvat kai al chalot Hashem hagavra, because it goes on the person. Hame'uter betefillin. V'chol kedusha yetera shechala karkafta, the hagavra the manach tefillin shel rosh. It's specifically on the tefillin shel rosh. V'od nirad l'fima she'nemar. The Mavarchim Rabbeinu Tam Birkat Lahachniso, Birkat Eresin, Bedavka La'acha Siyatan. Okay, Chalot. Fine. It's from what the other thing he was talking about here about Birkat Eresin and the like. So the point is,
He's comparing.
you're going to make the bracha al mitzvah tefillin when after you already put on your tefillin. Shel Rosh. Isn't that what we do? You don't hold the tefillin Shel Rosh in your hand, say Al Mitzvah Tefillin, and then put it on your head. You line it up on your head, say Al Mitzvah Tefillin, and then you tighten it. How come? It says, because you're making a bracha on the chalot, on the status that's conferred upon you as a Dvar Shebikdusha. It's not truly a Birkat HaMitzvah like Lahaniach Tefillin is a mitzvah, Birkat HaMitzvah. You'll say to me, it says Asher Yisrael Tzvanu on both of them. Yeah, so Asher Yisrael Tzvanu on Niach Tefillin is not the same as Asher Yisrael Tzvanu al Mitzvah Tefillin. V'nira dehu adin l'kam Rishonim disvarle the Birkat Shechiyanu b'mitzvot mehave bracha al chalot. L'shidat Rashi Birkat Shechiyanu b'Makriv Mincha. He goes on to talk about the Shechiyanu that's recited in a Korban, Shechiyanu recited in a Brit Milah. Right, it's the chalot. Elsewhere, not on this page, but in his there's a sefer of Stam, of the Shirei Hagrid on Stam, Sefer Torah Tefillah Mezuzah, that was put out also by Mosada Rav Kook. And in that, one of those essays, it points out that that's why I have to say, Asher Yisrael Tzvanu al Mitzvah Tefillin Tefillin Shel Rosh. What do? You tighten it, and then what do you say? Baruch Shem Kvod Mechuto L'Olam Va'ed. So many people think, why are you doing that? There's a suffix about whether the second bracha. So in case you made a mistake with the second bracha, the Rav said, no, that's not why. It's because you just put this new status onto your body. You became gufo, a little bit higher status of kedusha. Therefore, after he said al mitzvah tefillin, reflecting the chalot shem of the goof of kedusha, what do you say next? Baruch Shem Kvod Mechuto L'Olam Va'ed. On what? On yourself.
Then why don't we do it with tzitzit or talit?
Because the point here is davka, what we just read inside. Ki Shem Hashem Nikra Alecha. When the name of God is called upon you, V'ro Kol Amei Haaretz V'yaru Mimeka, the nations will see and they'll be fearful of you. That's the point. Tefillin is in a category by itself. You're wearing a portion of the Sefer Torah on your body, so it elevates you. So Al Mitzvah Tefillin, Baruch Shem Kvod Mechuto L'Olam Va'ed, because in the idea of wearing the tefillin is an element b'miyachad Shem Shamayim. Just like after Shema Yisrael, She Baruch Shem Kvod Mechuto L'Olam Va'ed, just like in Kaddish you say Yesh Meir Av Mevorach. So too, after you put on the tefillin, first thing that comes out of your mouth, Baruch Shem Kvod Mechuto L'Olam Va'ed. When? After I tighten it, because that's when the full chalot has happened, the full establishment of the new status. Adkan for tonight, and this is Karkafta l'manach tefillin. There's always more to say, but we'll have to end here. Jeff, your hand up. Sorry.
Is this a source of why Chabad it's so important to fill in? Whether they focus Stavka on this mitzvah? Why Chabad places so much emphasis on
Now we were talking about the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Exactly why. Karkafta l'manach tefillin, because it's such an important thing. And again, to summarize, as Jeff just asked, he came a couple minutes late. The Shita of the Rif, the Rambam, and the Ramban is that the Gemara's girsa is Karkafta l'manach tefillin le'olam. But if they had one time they put it on, they're good. So make sure everyone puts on tefillin at least once in their life, at least in that poshi sabagufan, at least according to some of the shitas of the Rishonim. No shiur the next 2 weeks. It's a good time to catch up on old shiurim. When we come back, we'll begin on Daf Yud Zayin Amud Bet with the new sugya, which everyone is going to really, really like, I think, because we're going back to halacha. No, I didn't mean it facetiously. It's everything having to do with the Yud Gimel Harachamim. So we'll learn all of that, and there's a lot there, that'll carry us forward. Okay, Adkan for tonight, and I'll send you regards to Eretz Yisrael. Okay, we'll learn in